You wake up in the morning, and the first thing you do is go back to the same feeling of self that you had yesterday. You open your eyes and automatically start thinking about your problems, about your limitations, about what you lack. And at this very moment, at this very second, you activate the same neural networks in your brain that you activated yesterday, the day before yesterday, a month ago, a year ago. You literally turn on a record of your past and begin to live this day as an extension of yesterday. Do you understand what's going on? Your brain is a recording device. He writes down everything you experience, everything you feel, every emotion, every thought. And when you think the same thoughts, you activate the same neural circuits. When you feel the same emotions, you signal your genes to produce the same proteins, the same chemicals. Your body literally becomes the embodiment of your past. It lives in the past tense, even if the calendar shows today's date. And that's what's happening at the quantum level. It's absolutely fascinating. Every thought you think creates an electromagnetic field. This is not a metaphor. This is real physics. Your thoughts are energy. Your emotions are energy. And this energy radiates from you into the quantum field, into the field of all possibilities, and it magnetically attracts to you events, circumstances, people that resonate with this frequency. Now imagine that you emit the same frequency every day. Frequency of deficiency, the frequency of fear, the frequency of guilt or shame for something that happened in the past, the frequency of resentment at someone who hurt you. You wake up and automatically, unconsciously, begin to recreate these emotional states because they have become your identity. You're used to feeling this way. It has become commonplace. It has become who you know yourself. And the quantum field responds to that. It cannot give you a new future if you constantly send signals from your past. It cannot bring you new opportunities if your energy says, I am still the same as yesterday. You see, the quantum field doesn't understand what you're saying. It doesn't hear when you say, I want to change. It responds only to your energy signature, to what you really radiate, to who you really are at the level of your inner state. Most people live in survival mode. They get up in the morning and their bodies are already stressed. Why? Because they start thinking about all the things they need to do, all the problems that need to be solved, all the obligations that are on their shoulders. And these thoughts about the future, charged with the energy of the past, cause their body to produce stress hormones. Adrenaline, cortisol begin to flow through their system, and the body mobilizes for survival. Now that you are living in survival mode, when your nervous system is constantly activated, your brain goes into a very narrow, focused mode of perception. It scans the external environment in search of danger. It becomes material. It becomes object-oriented. He thinks about your body, whether it is healthy, whether something hurts. He thinks about time, how much time has passed, how much time is left. He thinks about space, where you are, where you need to go. And in this state, you cannot create. You can't imagine. You can't dream of a new future because all your energy is directed to survival in the known, to control everything that is in your outer world. You become dependent on the external environment to feel a certain way. You need things, people, places to stimulate you to the next moment of existence. But here's what is important to understand. When you are in this state, when your attention is completely absorbed in the material world, you reinforce the same old quantum patterns. Every time you look at your life through the eyes of the past, every time you analyze your reality through the lens of who you were, you narrow down your reality to what is known. You limit your future to what you already know, to what you have already experienced. Your emotions are chemical remnants of the past. When something happens in your life, especially something intense, something that has a great emotional charge, your brain takes a snapshot of that moment. It records all the circumstances, where you were, who was nearby, what you saw, heard, felt, and it becomes recorded in your neural network as a memory. But it's not just a memory, it's an emotional memory. And every time you remember this event, you don't just think about it, you relive it emotionally. Your body does not know the difference between a real experience that generates an emotion and an emotion that you create only through thought. For the body, they're both real. So when you sit and think about something that hurt you by your colleague 5 years ago, and you feel angry, your body believes that that colleague is still hurting you right now. It produces the same chemicals, sends the same signals to cells, activates the same genetic expression. And this is what happens over time. These emotions become automatic. You don't even have to think about that event. You just wake up feeling anxious, or with a feeling of sadness, or with a feeling of powerlessness. These emotions have become part of your subconscious programming. They have become how you define yourself. I am an anxious person, I am a depressed person, I am an angry person are not who you really are. They're simply emotional states that you have practiced for so long that they have become your personality. Your personality creates your personal reality. This is the basic formula. Who you are, how you think, how you act, how you feel determines what comes into your life. And if your personality is formed from the emotions of the past, if it is built on fears and traumas and old beliefs, then your personal reality will just be an extension of the past. You will create the same situations over and over again because you are emitting the same signal. Quantum physics shows us that the observer influences what is observed. Your act of observation, your attention, your consciousness collapses the wave of quantum possibilities into a concrete particle of reality. This means that what you focus on, what you observe, what you expect, this is what you materialize in your life. Now, if you're constantly focusing on what you're lacking, if you're constantly looking at your life from a position of not enough money, not enough love, not enough health, not enough success, then you're collapsing quantum possibilities into more of what you're lacking. You create more lack because the quantum field responds to your state of being, not to your desires. Most people wait for something to change in their outside world so that they can feel different. When I get this job, then I will feel successful. When I meet that partner, then I will feel loved. When I lose this weight, then I will feel confident. But it works in reverse. You have to be the first one at the level of sensations. You have to experience success before you get it. You have to feel the love before it comes. You need to feel confident before your body changes. Why? Because when you feel the emotion of your future in the present moment, you send a new electromagnetic signal into the quantum field. You are no longer a victim of your environment. You no longer wait for something from the outside to change the way you feel inside. You become a creator. You begin to control your inner state regardless of external circumstances. And that's where your brain starts to change. When you learn to maintain an elevated emotional state, a state of gratitude, joy, love, inspiration, for no reason in the outside world, your brain begins to create new neural connections. It begins to come out of old patterns. Neurons that were previously bound together begin to disintegrate. Old associations, old automatic reactions begin to weaken. This is called neuroplasticity. Your brain can change at any age. You're not doomed to live with the same patterns for the rest of your life. But to change your brain, you have to think differently. You have to feel differently. You have to do something else. You can't continue to be the same person and expect a different result. Think about it. If you want a new life, a new reality, a new future, you have to become a new person. And to become a new person, you have to go beyond your analytical mind, beyond your automatic programs, beyond your emotional habits. You must enter a state of pure consciousness, a state of pure creativity, where everything is possible. Meditation is a tool for this, but it's not just sitting with your eyes closed. It is the practice of becoming nobody, nowhere at any time. It is the practice of disconnecting from your body as an identity, from your environment, from your usual thoughts and emotions. And when you do that, when you stop being the person you were, in that space of emptiness, in that space of pure potentiality, you can start creating a new version of yourself. You can begin to imagine a new future with such clarity, with such intensity, that your brain will not distinguish the difference between what is happening in your imagination and what is happening in real life. Your brain begins to change as if the experience has already taken place. New neural networks begin to form. And when you combine this clear imagination with an elevated emotion, with a sense of gratitude for this future that has not yet materialized, with a feeling of joy and love, as if it were already here, then you send a very powerful signal into the quantum field. You say to the universe, I already have it. I already am that person. And the quantum field has to respond. It must organize events, circumstances, opportunities that correspond to this new frequency that you emit. But you have to stay in that state. You can't meditate in the morning and feel great, and then go out and go back to your old self an hour later. You have to maintain this new state of being throughout the day. This is a challenge because your environment will constantly tempt you to return to your old self. The people in your life are used to the old you. They expect you to behave in a certain way. And when you start to change, when you start to be different, they may not understand. They may even resist because your change challenges their reality. But you have to stay true to your new vision of yourself. You have to practice being the person you want to become over and over again until it becomes automatic, until it becomes natural, until it becomes who you really are. It means catching yourself when you go back to old thought patterns. It means being aware when you start feeling those old emotions and consciously choosing otherwise. Every time you catch yourself thinking old thoughts and stop, every time you feel that an old emotion is rising and you don't let it control you, every time you act differently, despite the discomfort, you cut off old neural connections and build new ones. You literally reprogram your brain. You're freeing yourself from the past. Your genes are not your destiny. Epigenetics shows us that signals from the environment control gene expression. And the most powerful signal you can send to your genes is your thoughts and emotions. When you live in chronic stress, when you're constantly in survival mode, you activate genes that create disease, inflammation, imbalance. But when you live in a state of high emotions, when you regularly feel joy, love, gratitude, you activate genes that create health, regeneration, rejuvenation. This is not magic. This is science. It is measurable. The people in our studies show significant changes in gene expression in just 4 days of intensive workshops. Genes related to immunity are turned on. Genes associated with tumors are turned off. It's real. It works. But this requires you to go beyond your usual personality. Your body has become a mind. It remembered all your emotional reactions as well as your brain remembered all your thoughts. And now it has become a subconscious mind. It governs you more than you control it. You think that you're making conscious decisions, but 95% of your life is controlled by subconscious programs. Programs that were installed in you many years ago through repetition, through emotional experiences, through habit. To change these apps, you have to become more conscious than your subconscious apps. You have to become more conscious than your body-mind. And the only way to do that is to meditate, practice mindfulness, train yourself to be present. Because when you're present, when you are aware, you can notice these automatic programs when they are activated, and you can choose otherwise. Most people expect change to happen instantly. They meditate for a few days and give up because they don't see results. But change is a process. You have been creating your current reality for years, decades of repetitive thoughts and emotions. You can't expect everything to change overnight. But if you're consistent, if you're practicing every day, if you're committed to this process of transformation, change is inevitable. At first, the changes will be internal. You will start to feel different. You will begin to notice that the things that used to throw you off balance no longer have as much power over you. You will begin to have more energy, more clarity, more peace. And then when you continue, when you stay in this new state of being long enough, the outside world will begin to reflect these inner changes. Synchronicities will appear. Opportunities will come out of nowhere. People will come into your life who match your new level of vibration. The door will open. Things will start to add up easily. And you will understand that you are not trying to do something. You do not force, control, manipulate. You just are, and your being creates your reality. This is quantum change. This is not about changing your actions. It's about changing your being. Because when you change who you are on the deepest level, everything else changes naturally. You don't try to behave differently. You are a different person, so your actions are naturally different. You don't try to think positively. Your thoughts are naturally positive because you are in an exalted state. Old quantum patterns are like deep grooves in your brain, in your nervous system, in your energy field. They were created through repetition. And to create new patterns, you need the same power, repetition. But it must be a conscious repetition. It must be a practice with intensity, with emotion, with a clear intention. When you sit down to meditate, you're not just resting. You don't just relax. You are actively creating a new reality. You sculpt your brain. You reprogram your body. You send a new signal to the field. This is an active process of creation, and it requires energy, attention, presence. You can't be sleepy in your meditation and expect things to change. You have to be fully present, fully engaged in the process. You have to see your future as clearly as if you were looking at the screen in front of you. You have to feel these emotions as intensely as if they were real right now. Because for your brain, for your body, for the quantum field, they are real. There is no difference between the experiences you have in the outside world and the experiences you create in your inner world, as long as the emotion is the same. Emotion is energy in motion. It's a signal that tells your body and the quantum field. It's important, pay attention, remember it, create more of it. So when you practice feeling the emotions of your future now, you're not just dreaming. You're actually rebuilding your biology. You change your energy signature. You become a living magnet for the future that you see and feel. But here's a trap that many people fall into. They do it for a while, maybe a few weeks or months, and when they don't see immediate results in the outside world, they fall back into their old self. They say, it doesn't work. But the problem is not in the process. The problem is that they haven't stayed in their new state long enough. They did not allow him to gain a foothold. The quantum field organizes reality in its own way and in its own time. Your job is not to worry about the how and when. Your job is to stay in a state of waiting, in a state of knowing that this is already happening. Even if you don't see it in physical reality yet, you trust that it's on the way. You live as if it were already true. This is faith, not blind faith, but faith based on understanding how quantum physics works, how your brain works, how energy works. You know that if you change your energy, your reality must change. This is the law. This cannot but happen. But you have to stay aligned with that energy. Every day is an opportunity to practice being that version of yourself. When you wake up in the morning, before you check your phone, before you start thinking about your to-do list, stop. Take a moment to connect to that sense of self that you want to be. Activate that energy. Feel those emotions. Set the tone for the whole day. During the day, when you notice that you are returning to old patterns, do not judge yourself. Just stop. Take a breath. Remind yourself who you are now, who you are becoming. Make a different choice. Every choice is a signal. Every thought is a command to your genes. Each emotion is a link to the quantum field. Before going to bed, instead of watching the news or social media, instead of immersing yourself in the problems of the day, take time to reflect. Think about the moments when you were that new you. Think about the times when you chose otherwise. Feel gratitude for these moments, because gratitude is the most powerful emotion to create the future. When you're grateful for something, you send a signal that you have already received it. And the quantum field brings you more to be grateful for. Your life right now is a reflection of who you were in the past. Your future reality will be a reflection of who you are now. So if you want a different future, start being different now. Not tomorrow, not next Monday, not after circumstances change. Now, at this point, at this second, you have power. You've always had it. She's never been outside of you. It was hidden under layers of old beliefs, old emotions, old identities. But she's still there. She's waiting for you to remember, for you to wake up so that you become the creator of your life and not a victim of your circumstances. It's time to break free from those old quantum patterns. It's time to stop living on autopilot. It's time to become fully present, fully aware, fully alive. Your future awaits you, but it will not come to you. You have to become one. You have to embody it. You have to be him now. And when you do that, when you really change your being, the magic begins. Life begins to unfold in ways you could never have predicted. Opportunities come out of nowhere. And you understand that you are not an individual creature trying to survive in a hostile world. You are a creative force that shapes its reality with every breath, every thought, every emotion. This is your strength. Use it. And you realize that the most interesting thing about this whole process is that when you start changing yourself, when you start living from this new place of being, you notice that the people around you react differently. They don't know exactly what has changed, but they feel it because you emit a different frequency. Your energy field has changed, and people subconsciously feel this change. Some people will be attracted to you. They will see in you something that inspires them, something that awakens in them their own desire to change. Others may move away because your new energy no longer resonates with their old energy. And this is normal. This is part of the process. You can't hold on to old connections, old relationships, if they no longer align with who you become. This does not mean that you give up on people or become selfish. It means that you love yourself enough to allow yourself to grow, develop, become more authentic. And when you do that, you're actually giving other people permission to do the same. Your transformation becomes a quiet permission for everyone around you to transform too. Think about what happens at the cellular level when you change your emotional state. Each cell in your body has receptors on its surface. These receptors are like small antennas that receive chemical signals. And the most important signals they receive are neuropeptides, chemical messengers of emotions. When you feel fear, your body produces specific chemicals. When you feel anger, other chemicals. When you feel joy, is different again. And every cell in your body is bathed in these chemicals. They literally change the function of cells. They change which genes are expressed. They change the way cells communicate with each other. Now imagine that you have lived for years in a state of chronic stress, chronic anxiety, chronic sadness. Your cells have adapted to this chemical environment. They became addicted to these signals. The receptors on their surface actually decreased in number for other types of signals and increased for stress signals because that's what they were getting all the time. This is called cellular memory. Your cells have remembered your emotional state, and now they are expecting him. They actually send signals back to the brain saying, "Give us our dose." It's like drug addiction, but at the cellular level. Your body has become addicted to the emotions of stress, anxiety, sadness, any emotions that you have repeated over and over for years. And that's why it's so hard to change. That's why when you try to feel different, your body resists. It wants to return to its usual state because that's what it knows. This is what it has adapted to. Even if this condition makes you unhappy, even if it destroys your health, your body wants it because it's familiar. But here's the good news. Cells can adapt to a new chemical environment. When you start practicing new emotional states, when you start generating uplifting feelings on a regular basis, your cells start to change. At first, they resist. Your body can actually protest. You may feel uncomfortable. You may feel that something is wrong because your body does not recognize this new condition. But if you keep going, if you're persistent, if you practice these new emotional states every day, your cells start to create new receptors. They begin to expect new signals. They begin to adapt to this new chemical environment. And over time, this new state becomes as natural and automatic as the old state was before. This is biological transformation. You don't just change your mind. You change your body at the deepest, most fundamental level. You reprogram your cells. You change your genetic expression. You become literally a different person on a biological level. Now, let's talk about the heart. Because the heart is not just a pump that pumps blood. The heart is the most powerful electromagnetic generator in your body. The electromagnetic field generated by your heart is 5,000 times stronger than the field generated by your brain. And this field extends for several meters around your body. When you feel the emotions of the heart, love, gratitude, compassion, kindness, you create a very coherent, harmonious electromagnetic field. This field does not just surround you, it interacts with the fields of other people, with the field of the earth, with the quantum field. It sends information to the universe about who you are and what you want to create. Research shows that when people are in a state of cardiac coherence, when their heart beats in a harmonious, regular rhythm, their brain enters a very special state. The brain waves are synchronized. The left and right hemispheres begin to work together in harmony. The frontal lobe of the brain, which is responsible for decision-making, creativity, and planning for the future, becomes more active. In this state, you're the most creative, the most intuitive, the most able to see new opportunities. You go beyond your analytical mind. which is always looking for problems, always analyzing the past, always worrying about the future. You enter a state where you can receive information from deeper levels of consciousness, from a quantum field, from what some people call the universal mind or higher self. And here's what is important. This state does not come from waiting for something good to happen in your life. You create this state consciously. You choose to feel grateful right now. You choose to feel love right now. Not because there's a reason in the outside world, but because you understand the power of these emotions. You realize that when you generate them from within, you change your field, and your field changes your reality. Most people live with a closed heart. They defend themselves. They built walls around their hearts because of pain, because of disappointment, because of betrayal, because of loss. And these walls block the flow of energy. They limit their ability to feel, their ability to love, their ability to connect with others and with life. But when you start practicing opening your heart, when you start to allow yourself to feel again, even if it's scary, even if you're afraid of being betrayed again or getting hurt again, magic happens. Energy begins to flow. Your heart field expands. You begin to attract other people who also live with an open heart. You begin to experience synchronicities, coincidences that aren't really coincidences. It's the quantum field that organizes reality in response to your open, expanded heart field. Gratitude is the key to all this, but not superficial gratitude, not just saying thank you from your head. True gratitude is a deep feeling in your heart. It's a feeling of fullness, of full satisfaction, of deep appreciation for life itself, for the breath, for the opportunities you have, for the lessons you've learned, even for the hardships you've gone through, because they've made you stronger, wiser, more compassionate. When you can feel that gratitude for no reason, when you can wake up in the morning and the first thing you feel is gratitude, not for anything specific, but simply for being alive, for having one more day to create, to love, to grow, then you know that you have changed on a fundamental level. Because most people wake up feeling burdened. They open their eyes and the first thought is, oh no, another day. They already feel tired before getting out of bed. They are already thinking about the problems that await them. They're already activating stress hormones in their bodies. And they do it automatically, unconsciously, because it has become their pattern. But you can change this pattern. Right tomorrow morning, when you wake up, before your mind starts running in the usual direction, stop. Take a deep breath. Put your hand on your heart and consciously activate the feeling of gratitude. Think of something you're really grateful for. Not superficial, but allow yourself to really feel it. Let this emotion fill your heart, expand through your body. Do this for at least 3 to 5 minutes. Just stay in this feeling and pay attention to how your condition changes. As energy begins to flow through your body, as your mind becomes clear, how you start to feel different. This is not imagination. It's a real change in your biology, in your brain, in your heart, in your field. Now imagine that you do it not just one morning, but every day for weeks, months. Imagine how your biology changes, how your personality changes, how your reality changes. Because when you start your day with an uplifting emotion, when you set that tone from the beginning, everything else comes out of it. You don't go out into the world as a victim of circumstances. You go out into the world as a creator. You do not react to what is happening around you. You create what happens around you through your state of being. And when people or situations try to get you out of this state, when someone says something negative or something doesn't go according to plan, you have a choice. You could go back to the old reaction, to the old personality, or you can stay in your new state, in your new energy. And every time you choose to stay in your new state, despite the fact that the external environment is trying to get you out of there, you become stronger. You train your nervous system. You show your brain, your body, the quantum field, I'm serious. It's not temporary. That's who I am now. Let's talk about time. Because one of the biggest barriers to change is our perception of time. Most people live in linear time. They think the past has already happened and defined me. The future has not yet come and is unknown. The present moment is simply a moment between the past and the future. But quantum physics shows us a completely different picture. At the quantum level, time is not linear. All possibilities exist simultaneously in the eternal present moment. The past, present, and future are the constructs of our analytical mind, our three-dimensional perception. But beyond this perception, in the quantum field, all moments of time exist simultaneously. It means that your future is not something that is to come. It already exists as a potentiality in a quantum field. And when you connect to that future version of yourself now, when you're thinking and feeling the way you would think and feel in that future, you're actually collapsing the wave of probability. You attract this future into your present. This is not science fiction. This is quantum mechanics. The double-slit experiment showed us that the act of observing changes the behavior of particles. The electron exists as a wave of possibilities until someone observes it, and then it becomes a concrete particle in a specific place. Your consciousness, your attention, your observation collapses quantum possibilities into a concrete reality. Now apply this to your life. When you focus on your past, when you constantly observe and analyze what was, you keep collapsing those same possibilities. You keep creating more of the same. But when you shift your attention, your observation, to the future that you want to create, when you see it so clearly and feel it so intensely that it becomes more real to you than your current environment, then you collapse new possibilities. And here's what's amazing. When you do it long enough and consistently enough, your future literally begins to affect your present. You begin to receive information, intuition, inspiration that leads you to this future. You begin to make choices that are consistent with this future. You begin to act not from the past, but from the future. This is called living for the result instead of living for the result. Most people live for the result. They think, when I achieve this, then I will be happy. They are motivated by the desire to get something in the future. But when you live from the result, you act as if the result already exists. You already feel what you would feel if you had it. And the paradox is that when you do this, when you're already that person, the result comes much easier and faster. Because you don't go to him with the energy of lack, with the energy of, I need this to be whole. You go to him with the energy of integrity, with the energy of, I'm already whole, I'm already complete, and this result is just a reflection of who I am. The quantum field responds to this energy in a completely different way. Instead of feeling resistance, struggle, heaviness, you feel flow, lightness, synchronicity. Things start to fall apart. People show up. Opportunities are opening up. Not because you work hard, although action is still important, but because you are energetically aligned with what you want to create. Now let's talk about faith and doubt, because these are probably the greatest forces that either speed up or slow down your transformation. Faith is not just about positive thinking. Faith is a state of being where you know, in the depths of your heart, that what you see in your imagination is real. Even if your eyes don't see it in the physical world yet, you know it's true on a deeper level. This belief creates a very powerful electromagnetic field. It sends a very clear, consistent signal into the quantum field. And the quantum field has to answer because it's a law. Energy is always organized in coherence with the information it carries. But doubt destroys this signal. When in doubt, you send mixed signals. A part of you says, yes, I can do it, I deserve it. And the other part says, who are you to dream about this? This is impossible. It has never worked before. Why would it have to work now? And the quantum field gets confused. It does not know what signal to respond to. So it doesn't do anything, or it creates a confused, contradictory reality that reflects your mixed signals. That is why it is so critical to catch yourself in doubt. Not judging yourself for this will not help, but to notice him, be aware of it, and then consciously choose faith over doubt. Even if faith feels uncomfortable, even if your mind says it's illogical, you choose to believe because you understand the power of faith. Do you know what a placebo is? This is when a person takes a sugar pill thinking that it is a real medicine and their condition improves. Its symptoms disappear. Her illness recedes. Doctors call this the placebo effect and often dismiss it as something insignificant. But it is actually one of the most powerful proofs of the mind's ability to influence the body. When a person believes that they are taking medication that will cure them, their brain begins to produce its own medicine. It activates the body's healing mechanisms. It alters genetic expression. It sends signals to the immune system, the endocrine system, the nervous system, and the body begins to heal itself. This is not imagination. This is not positive thinking. These are real, measurable, biological changes that occur only because a person believes, only because she accepted the thought, this medicine will help me, and supported this thought with the emotion of faith, trust, expectation. Now imagine what would happen if you could do it consciously. If you didn't need an external placebo, pills, injections, procedures to activate this healing response. If you could do it on your own, just because of the power of your faith, your imagination, your emotion. It is possible. We've seen this over and over again in our research. People who have cured themselves of serious illnesses without any medical intervention. How did they do it? They made a decision. They have accepted the idea of their healthy future. They imagined themselves healthy with such clarity and felt it with such intensity that their bodies began to respond. Their genes began to be expressed differently. Their immune system began to work more efficiently. Their cells began to regenerate. And it's not just about health. It works for any area of life. For relationships, for finances, for career, for creativity. The principle is the same. You have to believe in the possibility of what you want to create before you see the evidence in the outside world. But that's where most people get stuck. They say, I'll believe it when I see it. And this is logical. This is how our analytical mind works. He needs proof. He wants guarantees. He wants to know that it will work before he puts energy into it. But creativity works in the opposite direction. You have to believe first. You should see it in your imagination first. You should feel it in your heart first. And then the outside world agrees. Evidence comes after faith, not before it. It takes courage. It requires a willingness to look like a fool. Because when you start talking about your future, when you start acting as if it's already real, people may think that you've lost touch with reality. They can laugh at you. They may doubt you. And if you are not firmly rooted in your faith, these external doubts can shake you. They can make you go back to the old way of being, to the old way of thinking. Maybe they're right. Maybe I'm dreaming too big. Maybe I should be more realistic. But realistic often means limited by the past. Being realistic means accepting limitations that were true before as absolute truths. But the past does not determine the future as long as you allow it to do so. You can choose otherwise. You can choose to be unrealistic, to be a visionary, to be a person who sees opportunities that others do not see. History is full of such people. People who dared to dream of the impossible and then made it real. They did not wait for permission. They didn't wait for conditions to be perfect. They didn't wait for everyone to believe in them. They started with faith in themselves. And this belief created an impulse that ended up changing reality. You can be that kind of person in your own life. Not necessarily on a large, global scale, although why not, if that's your call. But definitely on the scale of your personal life. You could be a person who refuses to be limited by the past, which refuses to accept this is how it is, as this is how it will always be. Every time you choose to think differently, to feel differently, to act differently, you're making a quantum leap. It may seem like a small choice, a small change, but on a quantum level, you collapse a new opportunity. You create a new trajectory. You enter another timeline. And if you keep making those choices, if you keep aligning with your future rather than your past, these little quantum leaps add up. They create momentum. They begin to resonate with each other. And suddenly you look at your life, and it is not recognizable. You don't recognize yourself. You live in a reality that was just a dream 6 months ago, a year ago, 5 years ago. But for that, you have to stay the course. You have to be committed, not only when you feel inspired, not only when everything is going well, especially when everything seems difficult, when nothing seems to change, when old patterns try to come back. It is in these moments that your devotion matters most, because these are test moments. These are the moments when the universe checks. Are you serious? Do you really want this change? Or will you give up at the first sign of difficulty? And every time you take this test, every time you choose to stay consistent despite the challenges, you become stronger. Your faith deepens. Your connection with your future becomes stronger. You live by the old quantum patterns just because you didn't know there was another way. Now you know. Now you realize that you are not your past. You are not your habits. You are not your emotions. You are not your body. You are a consciousness that has the ability to create any experience, any reality. This consciousness is limitless. It is not limited by time or space. It is not limited by your past or your current state. It is pure potential, pure possibility, pure creative force. And when you connect to that consciousness, when you identify with it instead of identifying with your little ego, with your limited self, everything changes. You don't try to change your life anymore. You're just a change. You embody a new reality. You live from that place. And from there, everything becomes possible because you're no longer limited by what you know. You are open to what you don't know yet. You're ready to be surprised at how things unfold. And this is where the real magic lives, in this space of openness, trust, surprise. When you let go of the need to control every detail, the need to know the how, and you just allow. You let the quantum field do its job. You allow the universal mind to organize your future in ways that are far more elegant, more spectacular, more miraculous than you could have planned with your limited analytical mind. Your task is just to stay in the state, maintain energy, to be that version of yourself, feel those emotions, lie from that future, and then watch it materialize in your life in the most unexpected, beautiful ways. This is your strength. This is your birthright. That's what you're here for. Originate, evolve, to become more of who you were. This is the journey of being human. Use it completely. Live life to the fullest. Love completely. Create completely. The time has come. The future awaits. It was always waiting. It has always been available. Now go and become one.